You're listening to the Call Kent podcast, where Kent C. Dodds answers questions and gives insights to software engineers like you. Now, let's hear the call.
Hi Kent, my name is Virgile. I'm going to read this question aloud, so forgive me if it sounds unnatural. First, I'd like to thank you for producing so much high-quality content. It's been really helpful in my web developer journey. I have a question regarding one of your Epic Web Dev article. It's titled Full Stack Component, and in it, you are using Remix to create an autocomplete component, basically a search bar, using the library Downshift. And you are using their useCombobox hook to manage the input props of the search bar. I've been using this component since you first published the article, but now I'm using a second library to manage forms, which is Conform. And I would like to leverage the autocomplete features of Downshift, but also the error handling of Conform to display validation errors for this particular search bar. And I would like to know your opinion about this integration. Is it possible to use Downshift with Conform? And which props are necessary for Conform to display validation errors? Thank you, Kent.
And that was the call. Here's what Kent had to say.
Hello, Virgile. I hope I said that correctly. Thank you so much for the question and for the nice words. Thank you. So to start everything out, I should say that I've not used Downshift with Conform before. I haven't had a use case for that yet with the release of Conform and every what I'm using forms for so far. But I can tell you that because of the way that Downshift works as this headless component and then eventually these hooks like useCombobox, it became it basically you're responsible for what you render, and so you're going to be rendering the input, and it's going to give you the props for what props you should apply to the input and stuff like that. And the real challenge with combo boxes is the fact that what the user sees is not what the value of the input should be typically. Normally, you're not going to have like the input shows up and they select an item and the item ID shows up in the input. You want to have some display version of whatever that selected item is. But then what you want to have submitted should be the ID of what they've selected. So that makes things a little bit tricky. What you typically do in those scenarios, first of all, you have to acknowledge the fact that the combo box is not going to work without JavaScript. It just won't. There are very interesting things that you can do with progressive enhancement to have something else that the user can interact with if that's a use case that's important to you. But for the vast majority of people, that use case isn't all that important. And so if it's not a hard requirement for you, I wouldn't worry about it. So that's just one thing to acknowledge right from the outset is like, this will not work without JavaScript. Combo boxes just can't work without JavaScript. So anyway, so what you do is you render the combo box, and this is the thing that the user is going to be interacting with and will display whatever thing you want to have displayed based on what's selected. But then you need to have a hidden input that is whatever the ID of the item that is selected, like this, that selected thing. So what that means is that errors are kind of interesting. So you could say, well, okay, the error is actually associated to the ID. Like maybe you're doing like a contact list or something, and you can't say, well, this person has already been added as your contact or something like that, or they've already been labeled, so that's the error. You wouldn't put that error pointing to the ID because and the hidden input field, because the user can't do anything about that anyway. So you want to make the error associated to the input that the user can affect. And so that would be the combo box input itself. So there shouldn't be anything too special that you have to do about that because you're the one rendering the input. You just need to make sure that the IDs match up and everything, and then you should be good to go. There might be something interesting. I suppose the default value, you would want that to be the ID of the value. You're probably going to want to control the combobox value as well. And you'll want to make sure that on selected, like whenever the selection changes, you update the selected ID that's being rendering the hidden input. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. This might be even more helpful to have an actual example. And so if you can put together a code sandbox that has your best effort in there, whatever you're planning on doing, then I'd be happy to chat with you about it during office hours. So I hope that's helpful. I'll add a link or two in the description of this episode, and I hope you have a nice day.
This has been the Call Kent podcast. Learn more about Kent at kentcdodds.com and get your own questions answered at kentcdodds.com/calls.